Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Faeforge Academy. We've got some more. The Faeforge Academy. Welcome to church. Thanks, thanks, Google. We got some more fun stories, some more Reclamation project for you today. Why don't all of you, our wonderful cast, say hi? I should say who I am. I'm Steven. I am the producer and all sorts of other things here at the Faeforge Academy. I'm so glad you're here. And let's start with Chris.
Hey everyone, my name is Chris Geary. I am the GM for this lovely little project. And you can find me at Chris Geary on Twitter.
Prince.
Hey everybody, I'm Prince, also known as Dimples and Dice around the internet. I'll be playing Drasus, the Minotaur fighter, pronouns he, him. And you can find me all around the webs as Dimples and Dice.
Leona.
Hello, I'm Leona. I am playing Sunflower, our Warforge sorcerer, precious bean. You can find me on the internet at the Leona Maple, and Sunflower and I both use she, her pronouns. So yeah.
And B.
Hello. It is I, your non-binary busy bee. You can find me on Twitter as @B_Zelda. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm joining you playing the absolutely delightful, never incorrect, super straight edge, like a razor blade, the fairy rogue Morticia and her little friend Adam.
So I wanted to say one thing before we get started and we jump into the show. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the real world in the last 24 hours that have been, there's no better way to say it than just really awful. And so I know that we're just a little show on our little corner of the internet. But I wanted to say, one, I hope if you're here, it gives you a little bit of joy in your life. And two, I just wanted to validate any feelings that you might have about fear from wars that are happening, anti-trans laws that are going on, all this stuff, all these really oppressive things, and say that one, it's okay to be stressed about those things. It's okay to, if you're watching our show and you start to just feel overwhelmed, to not watch us. It's okay. And don't let those things stop you from fighting for good things, for remembering that trans rights are human rights, and that some of the stuff like in Texas right now is endangering the lives of children because people aren't willing to see the world from a different point of view. And so I hope while you're here, you get a little bit of a different view of the world, and remember that loving and kindness and all that stuff that a lot of people like to talk about here involves fighting for other people's rights. It's not just patting people on the back. So that's what I wanted to say before we get started, because I've been thinking about that a lot in the last 24 hours. And with that, y'all ready to jump into our bumper video?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
As the divine powers rebuild their connection to Evastria, mortals witness the unearthing of dormant powers not seen for generations. In their reawakening, secrets, mysteries, and legends carefully hidden away reveal themselves to those inhabitants of Evastria who've been granted ethereal sight. The planar shifting that such rebuilding entails blurs the lines of reality. 'Tis why my four new friends followed a path others avoided, seeking the source of concern with an eye towards curiosity rather than confrontation. I could not have predicted such a friendly outcome to an interplanar event. Once they befriended the Earth Elemental through trust and compassion, they fell into fortuitous circumstances surrounded by history, mystery, and healing. What the Vault of Riverheart reveals to them will undoubtedly propel them towards the heroic future I have foreseen. Let us now return to Evastria's insightful foursome as they try to discern between clues, keys, and clutter.
Over to you, Chris.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope the recap helped refresh your memory as we return to the vault of Riverheart. Drasus revealed the forebearer of his son's name and expressed to the group who the voice emanating from his broken sword was. Prince, if you don't mind, give us a reminder of how Drasus felt in that moment, seeing the internment or eternal resting place of someone of some level of significance. The namesake.
It's like being reminded of, for Drass, it's like being reminded of, like, not just that person, but like the many people that he's lost over the years, because he's lived to a ripe old age at this point. He is an old soldier. He's seen people die, and he had been living a fairly comfortable and cozy life where he could kind of put all that behind him, and is sort of bringing everything back now. Like, you know, getting back into the whole adventuring thing, finding a group to click with. That was his goal, but he didn't think about the pain that comes along with it. Remembering, you know, you can lose people, that life living like this is dangerous. And this is also a person that was so very close. I mean, that his son is named after them. And having that loss come back is almost double. So there's a lot of sadness right now for Drasus, for sure.
If I remember right, he got a little quiet toward the end of that last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Sunflower, or Leona, remind us, Sunflower had helped with communicating with the Earth Elemental and bridging that gap between, well, intent and understanding.
Yes.
As she took in all of the information, possibly quicker than those around her, from the wall, the different people interred there, the lives that they represent. What was whirring through her mind?
I think for Sunflower there was, I suppose, a sense of, I want to say, helplessness almost. I think Sunflower's focus last session was very much on trying to help and struggling, despite her best efforts, to understand and, you know, how best to help someone who, you know, was seeking something, and just that effort of trying to learn and understand how to help, how to fix it, if she can even fix it, if that's even her place to fix it. I think she was really struggling with wrapping her mind around those sorts of very human emotions.
Morticia. Sweet Morticia. Part of the ending of last episode, we see the revealing of what that stone means to the Earth Elemental. Sunflower conveys that it is the heart of his wife. We've already heard about how Drasus has confronted the loss or potential loss of loved ones. Did any of that also register for Morticia? Or was she bubbling with excitement at the possibility of new friends?
I think she was still bubbling at the excitement of new friends. Well, loss is something that Morticia has experienced. The loss that she's had has been buried so deep down that it can't resurface quite like this. So even though there's like that pang, that you kind of feel inside your heart where you know something feels, but you don't know what that feeling is. You don't know how to identify it. It's that, and she pushes it deep down as she kind of flies around doing a little jig around the rock. Happy the finding of this heart. This heart is beautiful. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. More people, more friends. Can that heart become something? Can we make another one of you?
At that question, you will catch light coming off of or from within that stone, that quartz, that does not seem to match the other lights refracting in the room itself. And on the thought of that, Vincent, you were the last to make their way to where the stone was found. Shall I say, retrieved. And you had taken the long route, so to speak. How does reflecting on histories, some of which predate you, others which don't, this timeline of peoples?
I think Vincent, as he's walking around, has been looking through these murals, kind of remembering bits and pieces of history of Riverheart, and then seeing Drasus kind of reconnecting with his history and hearing the sword speak, is just kind of curious. Not too attached or empathetic to the loss, because loss is inevitable. And very interested in whatever this heart is.
So now I leave it to you all. You've reconvened in different states, buzzing around or standing near the earth elemental, holding the rose quartz heart. And for all of you, you can see it pulse with a glow. Very dull to begin, but slowly increasing in brightness.
Does Sunflower still had comprehend languages up?
Correct.
Sunflower, can you ask our friend here if he's aware of what's going on?
Yes, of course. And she'll turn to our Earth Elemental friend, and she'll basically say the same thing. My friend, what? Do you know what is going on? What?
I am, how do you say? Communing?
I see. With whom?
My wife.
This is the heart of your wife?
Hmm?
I see. And she'll turn back to the group and she will say, my friend says they are communing with the heart of their wife.
Whoa. Tell her I say hi.
Perhaps we should give him some time alone.
Oh.
Yes. Perhaps.
Can I look at the the tomb or whatever that
Mhm.
it was taken out of. Is there a name on that tomb?
Yeah, Elisa Lyles. Elyssa Lyles. Lyles.
And does that name mean anything to me?
It does.
Oh.
Oh.
Elisa Lyles is a name that you've heard over the years. A nom de plume for some, an alias for others. Typically of someone who is a grifter. Someone who is pretending to be something they are not. Someone who did not have a name to be buried with.
I'll kind of relay that to the group. His wife was in the histories, I guess, would be nobody. It's just a name for anybody.
Out of character, just to make sure I'm understanding this right, Alyssa Lyles in this case is essentially Jane Doe, or an equivalency?
If Jane Doe was also the fake name that people gave when they were trying to con you.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
It's not just for people who are unidentifiable.
Oh.
It's for people who would refuse to identify themselves.
Jack of fables.
Yes.
Okay.
So while they may not have actually used that name, it's, in this instance anyways, the name that was given to mark this place because they had no other name to give. And because something was not as it seemed.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I'll kind of communicate all of that to the group, but I don't know. There's something more here, obviously, with this heart glowing, and I don't know how an elemental being is married to a con artist or something, but
if anyone peers into the, I guess, I don't know what you call that space in a mausoleum, but if anyone peers in there, you will find no remnants of a body.
I would like to step in, yeah.
As you walk around, Morticia, there was just the heart and some fabric that was left behind.
Oh. What kind of
Honestly,
fabric?
that makes a lot of sense to Dracis.
Does it? Morticia's gonna hold up the fabric like, what?
The fabric is kind of deteriorating in your fingers as you hold it up.
What was it made out of? Cotton, silk?
Some form of manufactured silk, you believe. If not silk, something to be silk-like.
Okay. Whatever is left, I will try to wrap around myself.
Okay.
What? Somebody is now dead and can't wear just means that somebody else was alive and can wear. That's the saying.
It's literally falling apart.
Oh gosh, I'm losing some more.
Could you at least do the kindness of, like, this was this being's wife's grave? You're just taking their clothes? Their material?
Hey, Rock, can I wear this? I'll give it a good home on my body.
Yep.
You receive some sort of general shrug in your direction.
What a good shrug or a bad shrug?
I
don't know if that comes off
Confused
as
shrug.
Sunflower.
More of a confused shrug.
Confused shrug. The sunflower is decidedly not translating anything.
It was a good shrug.
Sunflower, could you ask as respectfully as possible, with as much decorum as possible, who this elemental's wife was.
I will do my best. And Sunflower kind of thinks on it for a moment. Friend, we are wondering who was your wife? What was her name? We wish to know more about her. If you feel comfortable sharing, that is.
The face quizzically, as it, shifts around its body to be eye level with you, as he's wont to do, seems to be tilting sideways, as if mimicking uncertainty of how to respond or uncertainty of what the question is, one or the other. And you believe he's attempting to find the answer that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
While that happens, it's going to take almost a painful minute.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're waiting for someone to say something and you know that it's on their lips and they're about to, and you're just like, spit it out already. Like, It's that kind of a painful minute. Does anybody wish to look at something, do something, whatever the case may be, during that brief glimpse?
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I suspect if Drasus, if this is sort of a readable, expression or experience, I think Drasus will just probably do something somewhat out of character for himself, even surprise himself, and just kind of like put a hand on the rock and it's like, I understand. I don't know if Sunflower translates that, but it's not even so much meant to be translated as just be like, I don't know, it's close to comfort as
No,
she can give.
She'd translate that. Sunflower's focus is to just kind of stay with him. She's just, for some reason, all she can think to do is just kind of stay with the elemental and just kind of be present. I think she's holding space for the elemental without even knowing what holding space means or looks like, So she's perfectly happy to just kind of, I mean, her face doesn't move either, so it's not like she's showing any emotions of impatience, so she's perfectly happy to just stand there and wait for the answer,
Morticia's gonna start flying towards like the ceiling and just look for anything in the cracks and crevices, even if it's just some spider friends.
Spider friends. Spider friends.
Go
ahead. Nope.
As we circle around those actions, one of the elemental's rocky hands will pat Drasus's hand as if to acknowledge understanding. And
I think Drasus probably just step back, chill, appreciate it.
And as he's doing that, Morticia, you'll notice that the ceiling above, though naturally occurring dome, seemed to have been inlaid at some point with mosaic.
Ooh.
You can catch glimpses of it here and glimpses of it there, but it has eroded or fallen away, and probably long before this place was shut up for good, because you don't see tons of piles of it beneath you as to where it would rest now. So there was some attempt to adorn the cavern's ceiling, and it did not hold for
tell any kind of story, or is it just like really nice patterns?
What is your passive?
Oh, it's really good. It is a 17.
That's what I thought. Some of the patterns that Morticia will pick out are a variety of protection sigils,
Okay.
which should be fairly common when you have interred dead. Blessings, but they vary across languages. Being of the soul reaping type that Morticia has been, you recognize that this is across cultures.
Okay.
There are snippets here and there, and they intermingle.
I think Morticia would shout it to Sunflower. Have you seen this ceiling? Whoa! Count your lucky stars. There's blessings and protection spells in every language. I can really only count up to 5 languages, but based on everything else I don't recognize, there's a lot up here.
Really?
Can your eyes see up here? I can like shout it down at you.
I can perhaps take a look.
Okay.
And Sunflower will kind of move to a position where she can take a better look.
The vaulted ceiling at its peak is, well, crumbled in a large chunk of it near the peak, but is probably 2.5 stories up.
Mm-hmm.
And lighting isn't very good, but around the edges where more of the mosaic stayed, you'd identify at least a dozen languages and half a dozen dialects of other of those dozen languages.
Oh my.
This place held significance at one point for a multitude. While it may have been fabled to be the vault of Riverheart, as Vincent had pointed out last time, it seems to be something that is more that extends far beyond the 5 families and the dwarven ambassadors that help create this place.
Perhaps it is. I think Sunflower will actually first relay that and tell everyone that that there's just an absolute multitude of languages here, and that this is clearly a sort of resting ground for all kinds of people. And then
I knew it.
And then she kind of adds to that, perhaps that's why this is so valuable a place, not perhaps because it is a vault, but because it is a resting place for so many people.
So, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is we should open up all the other...
I don't think that's how that works. No.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't understand.
My understanding, and I am not living, so this is slightly strange that I'm saying all of this, but my understanding of the dead is that they are to be left alone and respected. The fact that there are so many cultures here, so many languages, so many people from so many walks of life, the important part is that they're all here. There is a value to them all lying here, unified after death.
Morticia pulls her rotting cloth closer. If you say so. I'm pretty sure the dead just kind of go do what dead things do, but yeah, I'm good with this.
Okay, all right. Sunflower. If Sunflower's face could look desperate, it would look desperate, and she's going to look at anyone else for understanding.
And it's about that time that you will hear the words core of Terras Oriah.
Core of Terra's Araya?
Her name, best translated, would be Oriah, meaning the core of Terras.
I see.
We don't know yet.
That is beautiful. And Chris, out of character, if you don't mind maybe dropping that in like Discord,
Yeah.
because I'm not sure how to spell that.
Sure.
Thank you.
What's the rock saying?
The rock. I can't believe she would not actually say the rock.
I know that in Dwarven the rock is translated as Dwayne.
Oh!
So
You're so good at Dwarven.
I am very good at it. That's true.
Oh,
Trying
good.
so hard to be serious, y'all.
Drass is like, that is not it. Absolutely not.
Our friend is saying that her name is Araya and that it translates to the core of Terrace. Arias, the core of Terrace.
Terrace, like a terrace that I could stand on, or like Terra, like the world?
I would say Terra like the world.
Does
But plural.
Plural.
Oh, many worlds.
Many worlds.
Fan.
Oh.
does that mean anything? Does like, can I roll like a history check or something like that? Like,
Well, I mean, a couple of things that Vincent you would probably know is just from your history with magics and such. The elemental plane of Earth would refer to a world or planet or place as Terra. So it could be translated more accurately to common as the core of worlds, or even the heart of worlds. But what else would you want to know?
I have no idea. Out of character. Oh, I'm
This isn't my
muted.
line of thinking, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to follow up on this.
I have no idea what I want to know, but I think Vincent would be very curious about a name like that.
And Drass is just over here like, oh, his wife is the core of his worlds. That makes sense.
Oh my god.
Out of character, I don't know if Sunflower would be able to cognitively have this level of thinking. Maybe not. I'm not too sure. In character, but out of character, if someone is the core of worlds, essentially, or the heart of worlds, I'm almost wondering if she had some sort of significance, some sort of reason why this mausoleum is here. If this mausoleum is here and it is a intersection where all of these different people with all of these different languages and all of these different cultures came together, that's not a coincidence that her name is the core of worlds. To me.
Correct.
No, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of significance to this place, and like it's adding up a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also a little unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what happened?
Yeah.
And you also would remember that he referred to this artifact as something that he had lost.
Oh God.
Who is he?
The elemental.
No, I'm
but
that in
like-
character, like
Ah,
kind of as processing that, like, if he lost this heart of the worlds, who is
I have a
he?
terrible idea.
Is
Perhaps
your
he is
idea
the
to take the? Oh, go ahead.
My idea is that perhaps he was the creator here once upon a time. Perhaps this was his project unfinished.
That would mean no. That would mean that this rock person is thousands of years old and existed long before all that magic got pulled. Like the stories about this world, that there used to be also. That would mean he's one of, like, is this a... You're basically saying we're standing in front of a god.
Whoa!
Sunflower will look at Stephen, again, blank face, but will look, not Stephen, Vincent. Will look Vincent directly in the eye and say, is that not impossible? It is possible, is it not?
It's improbable.
But not impossible.
Did any of us ask who they are?
I probably tried, but you know.
I believe you were very content with Rocky.
I think Rocky was the conclusion, and we just rolled.
This name has had a lot of development, from Rocky to The Rock to Dwayne.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying, I believe that is what everyone settled on. Is Rocky.
That's right.
Maybe we should find out
Yes.
who they actually are.
Yes. And Sunflower will approach him and say, my friend, thank you for telling us your wife's name. I realized that we never got your name. Who are you? What is your name? And I'm Sunflower. Remembering her manners, she decides to introduce herself.
He will pause and try again, as he did in the tunnel when first asked the question, and he makes this primordial sound that sounds much like gravel and like moving amongst itself, and he gets kind of a defeated look on his face, as though he cannot quite translate it.
It's all right. Perhaps the better question is, do you know how long you have been here for? I don't know if stone elementals have any concept of time, but she's gonna give it a shot anyways.
Do rocks have concept of time? Probably not.
I mean, he could have been here for
Not
millennia.
long.
I think he's been here for a day.
Not long.
Not long. That's what I've heard. Heck.
This was only the 17th place I stopped to look.
Oh, I don't know that, but oh.
My friend, 17 places is quite a few. And she will back channel also relay translate.
17. Huh. It's probably a lot.
If you are actually questioning, the age, the place in the world of this creature, perhaps you should ask it that. Is it a god? Is it a creature beyond our ken?
My friend, are you a god?
I wish somebody would ask.
You get
me
that quizzical look again.
Someone asked if you're a god, Ray. You say yes. Sorry.
I know not of gods. I only know of stone and earth and soil, of life and death and cycles.
Yet, you know of life and death and cycles. You seem to also know something of this place. If this was your wife, there is history here, is there not?
She was not stolen, but stolen.
Taken?
Taken.
Hmm.
Removed
removed? From here, or from you? Or from something else entirely?
From home.
From home. Where is home?
You'll see the face kind of move around the body.
Mm.
Not here. Not. What do you call this, Terra?
This Terra is Riverheart.
Riverheart?
Yes.
Riverheart. Is a good name. You will see him make signs in the air with his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who has the ability to cast spells, you will notice the arcane energies that flow. If you wish to identify what he is attempting, feel free. You can either give me a passive arcana or roll arcana, whichever you prefer. If you are just curious and not a spellcaster, you can also attempt to roll arcana.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Well,
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I'm just watching.
A nat 20
whew! Yeah, that beats my 10.
for 24.
So this is going to be a Stephen moment, really quickly, just to
Okay.
level set timeline. How old is Vincent?
Vincent's about 600.
Okay, and how many years prior to that was the shattering?
About 2,400 years.
Okay. The spell is some sort of portal spell. Sunflower will pick up on that. That part is not difficult. However, what is odd is Vincent notices it is a dialect that he has only seen on artifacts that predate the shattering. Some might call that the magic of gods.
This is like quickly because of I don't know how fast the spell is going. This is something. This is magic that's before the shattering. This is from the time of lore. This is legends. This isn't real, but it is.
Not impossible.
Morticia, at this moment, your passive perception will pick up on everything here has a shadow, an extra shadow. Everything here, except for you all, and Rocky, seems to have two reflections in shadow.
Whoa! Does anybody see these shadows? Oh my goodness. I have to go dancing with them. And then like with her arms up, she's gonna start dancing around as many of the shadows that only probably she can see.
If anybody wishes to indulge Morticia's comments about shadows and looks intently enough, I'm assuming Vincent is fixated on the magic.
Mm-hmm.
To glean what he can from it. If you do, you will see this overlap where there seems to be a shadow behind the shadow.
Oof, like double images.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts the
It's
eyes.
a double rainbow.
Double rainbow.
What does it mean?
Okay.
I think Drastus would be sort of transfixed by this because that's a weird occurrence, and there's some weird magic going on,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's starting to get nervous actually, because this is starting to slip into stuff that's like, understand magic exists, that sort of thing, but this is going beyond that,
It's scary.
and now he's getting a little disquieted.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really know what to do, so he's just kind of like stuck.
Is anybody going to try and interrupt the spell? It is clearly a ritualistic spell, and so it will take time. It is not a 6-second spell.
So we've gleaned that it's some sort of portal spell
Yes.
with magic from before any of us would be familiar with magic.
If it were possible, theoretically speaking, it is some sort of portal to another plane. You would guess his home plane. Just if we're making logical leaps, Vincent could guess those things.
Okay, I'll say I think he's going home.
Is he taking us with him?
I don't know.
I'm sure he's not taking
I
us
intend-
Well,
with
what
him.
you know from portal magic in general is that you have to step through a portal in order to be taken.
Okay.
But this also predates anything that Vincent has ever cast.
Is Dwayne channeling with this heart? Like, is that part of his magic?
Oh. That's a
Oh,
good question.
the heart is absolutely like an arcane focus in this
Oh,
spell.
yeah.
Oh, damn.
Good observation.
Ha!
Whew.
Okay.
And we know this is the heart of the world.
So if you're watching Vincent, he's first like his eyes are moving quickly between each sigil that's written, tracing it, kind of muttering to himself, and then as you'd watch his eyes fixate on this heart, and I'm gonna move closer.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I think Sunflower's also going to move closer. I think her gut instinct is that because she's the only one who can speak to him, she needs to stay with him.
Okay. What are you? So you begin to focus on the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there anything on, like, as it's focusing this magic, is there anything identifiable on it?
It looked like a perfect anatomical heart of a humanoid, just made completely out of rose quartz,
That's right.
and much too large, about the size of Vincent's head.
Yeah, Vincent almost like, how much of in a trance is this rock creature? Like, how
The rock
focused?
creature is not actually in a trance as much as they are
Or
busy.
mm-hmm. I wanna make this as explicit as possible to let any of you react to what Vincent is doing. If you look closely at Vincent, he's looking like he wants that heart. As he's moving closer.
Okay. No, I mean, if you want that heart, all the power to you.
Vincent.
He'll look at you. What?
What
How
are you
close
doing?
are you?
How close can I get?
The elemental is making no, not trying to impede anyone. Granted, his one arm is flailing about, marking sigils,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of moving about his body like his face had.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is holding the heart kind of in place about midway up. So about eye level
Okay.
with...
Yeah, I
You.
think I'd kind of glance at Sunflower,
Mhm.
and then look back at that heart, and I'm gonna reach out. I'm not gonna grab it, but I do want to touch it.
Okay. I need an intelligence saving throw.
Hey, yikes.
Good.
That's a fun one.
Hey,
It seemed inevitable.
Hope you have some guidance.
Your DC is a 26.
A 12.
Got a 12.
Excellent. I am going to need a
death save.
no. I'm going to need an intelligence saving throw from Sunflower.
Oh,
With a
boy.
DC 18.
Nice. 18 on the nose.
Whew.
If it needs to be higher, you have.
Meets it beats.
I do have things I can
Meets or
redeem.
beats.
Okay.
Yep.
And the last two of you, because you are still in the room,
Mm-hmm.
I will need an intelligence saving throw of a 14 or higher.
You sure you don't want to make it any lower for me?
Sorry.
Drass is over here like,
Come on, my man. You wanted some adventure.
We failed.
So everybody starts to feel the room spin.
Ooh.
And as the room spins, we see, or you each start to see stars. And the shadows start to envelop the details, and now all you see are streaking lights and blackness. Except for Sunflower, and I'll circle back to Sunflower when I'm done. And poof, the spinning stops. And you feel out of body for a moment, as galaxies seem to be rushing by. Sunflower, what you notice is the room does start to spin for you. You start to see the shadows creep around, and the lights start to streak around. But then the lights break apart the overlap shadows. And you see a portal open beneath the feet of Rocky, of Dwayne. And he smiles at you and waves. And when you look around, you see Vincent, outstretched hand, frozen in time. His eyes are glazed over, but you can see in the pupils, if you look close enough, because you're standing close enough, stars and galaxies rushing by. You see Morticia frozen in air, and Drasus frozen on the edge. And then he's gone. The room is a bit lighter. There's less shadow. All of you, the other three of you, your vision comes back to you kind of like as if you were staring up into a light for far too long. You still are where you are, except it feels lighter. Love the backdrop. Not just looks brighter, but feels lighter. Before, there was kind of this overhang of mystery. This weight of unknown. But left in the wake, there's less dust. And poof, poof, poof. 3 torches out of the 8 corners. Light. With a soft, warm glow. Thank you, friends. Stephen, beneath your, well, not beneath your feet, but right below you, if you look down, you will see a glimmer of that completed circle. For long enough to burn regret into your mind. As, oh, I wish I had more time to write that down. And there is clearly a center stone to this floor. And going out from it is basically number of, or multiples of 8. As it heads toward the walls.
Are we, like, able to move around?
Mm-hmm. Everything's back to normal.
Is, like, sunflowers? Is Sunflower here too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think only Dwayne vanished, and I think that's it. Like, technically, I don't think we actually went anywhere. It was him just going home, I guess.
Powering up
To go home, and Sunflower being powerless to stop him, or knowing if she should or not.
We came along and rode on a fantastic voyage.
Huh. That was different?
Did you...
Yeah.
Kind of rubbing his temples and his mind.
Stars in my eyes.
There was this... The circle was completed. Did you see that?
I don't know if I was supposed to see any of that, because that was... I'm still trying to work it out. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Trippy.
Very trippy. One time in a forest I was in, I found some mushrooms that were pink and purple. Turns out you shouldn't have eaten them. It was
You
very
never
reminiscent
eat
of
the
that.
mushrooms.
I mean, mushroom soup was great. I made tea out of it.
Oh, good
Thinking
God.
back about that moment, you remember when you felt like, sort of like this before, sometimes crossing between the Feywild and here, things get a little stuck. And they overlap, and then poof, you push your way through.
I reiterate, it's kind of like passing through the Feywilds, you know? It's just kind of like everything is bright. There's stars, there's galaxies, there's shadows, and then you have to... It's like squeezing through a tree trunk you didn't know you got stuck in.
But how did we not... Like, why are we still here?
Are we still here? Part of me says we are, but part of me wonders if we are.
That seems like an existential question, and I'm not quite ready to answer it just yet.
Why don't we go step outside?
Hear me out. Hear me
Okay.
out. Who's to say that this place doesn't exist on multiple planes?
Oh, it most definitely does.
With
I
that,
really don't do interplanar traveling. I'm not.
You do
familiar.
now?
Nor do I, but here we are. If he did not take us anywhere, then we'll be stepping outside, and it'll be the same place that we were in before. But if not, then we are somewhere else.
has anything in the room changed from like the names on the walls or the murals or anything like that? Is the where the heart was that was broken, is that still broken and empty?
Yep. Everything seems to be the same, except there's a little less debris, a little less dust,
And no earth elemental.
and no earth elemental. And because of that 24 for Vincent, one logical conclusion, well, there are a few of them. One logical conclusion is it is possible, like Sunflower mentioned, that this could be existing in multiple planes and you're in a different plane in the same place. Another could be because it was open to the plane of Earth, some elements of Earth got sucked in when he left, since that seems to be what's disappeared the most. Also, maybe it was time travel. Less dust, less debris. Same result, but if you were in two places at once, plus who knows if time travel can even happen.
I guess we won't find out unless we step out of here.
Yeah, I'll share all three of those possibilities and kind of be like, they all seem equally as possible and unlikely.
This is worse than when the babies are crying.
Oh.
Oh. We should go look.
Yeah. Is there somewhere to,
Yeah.
because we fell through
Mhm.
before, is there somewhere we can go from here?
Is the ceiling still cracked open?
Correct. The ceiling is still cracked open.
I give a rope to Morticia. Go find somewhere to hook this.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Don't die.
Oh, anything, this rope is gonna die.
What?
That would be bad too.
That doesn't even make sense.
She's gonna fly up. What do you want to tie a rope? Like a survival?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Well, actually, give me a survival with dexterity.
Okay.
So whatever your dex modifier instead of the 3.
+5.
So 2 more, so 22. Okay.
I'm really good at tying ropes to rocks.
It
Like-
seems to be, yeah.
Fashionably good.
So as you fly up, you notice everything looks very much the same as when you fell down, or just before you fell down.
Okay.
You'll also notice that the stones that cascade out from that center stone create 8 distinct patterns that were not in the ceiling.
Ah.
And you would not have been able to pick that out if you had not gotten to this vantage point.
Okay.
Also with your wild perception.
It's Adam. He's watching everything. They see all, really. Like,
It's true. Adam does see all.
there's more 8-point symbolism up here. Oh, also the rope is tied. You could probably climb it. Hi to the dog in the dungeon.
We're now playing Doggist Dungeon.
Oh no.
Podcast of dungeons.
So with
My
Morticia,
diva is being a drama queen.
Oh.
with Morticia pointing that out, do the 8, like kind of this 8-point symbolism stuff, does it match where the torches were that we saw?
3 of them would be actually the light from them helps see them better, and 3 of them are more lit than the others.
I'm gonna walk up to one of the ones that's like more lit.
Oh no, I mean the symbols are more illuminated. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
okay.
Are there
So,
are there any
because of the positioning, 3 of the symbols are more illuminated.
I see. Those 3 symbols, are they any? Is there any significance? Can I read them? I do have the warlock. I can read everything.
Oh yeah,
Invocation.
yeah, I remember that. Yes. I don't know. Does it also include heraldry?
I think it's specifically languages, so I don't know that.
Yeah.
But is heraldry a language?
Oh,
Or is it
gosh.
only the written word, not symbolism?
I see. Yeah.
That's a good
I think it's
question.
written language the way that it is phrased. Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaving that up to interpretation.
Well,
to
actually,
y'all.
Eyes
How
of the
you wanna play
Runekeeper just says you can read all writing.
Read all
It's
writing.
It's not languages.
You're right.
Gotcha.
You're right.
So that's writing.
Then it's writing.
So no, it does not translate into any written word. But by ruling that out, it does become clear that they are heraldic symbols.
Symbols of heralds?
Symbols
I don't know what that
of
is.
some sort of group
Okay.
or groups.
Okay.
Could have been, to be exact.
I'd like to copy all 8 of them down.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess after that, I'll just start climbing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think while you're writing down this wibble wobble that you're writing, Drasus just climbs up. He's sure you're fine. I don't know if I need to make any check for that, but Drasus is pretty good at this.
The rope is secure. There's no wind. There's no one trying to impede your ability. I'm going to say no check is necessary because there is no risk, unless, of course, your character is extremely clumsy. And that's a personal decision.
Not clumsy on Drasus's end.
That works.
21 in
Since you don't
strength.
have to make
Easy
rolls
peasy.
for it, Morticia's definitely like sprinkling dirt on everybody as you're climbing up. So you might have some dirt in your eyes, but beyond that, it's an easy climb.
Morticia, what are you doing?
I'm adding ambiance. We don't have rock anymore. Rocky was really what was creating all the rock and the dust, and without that, I just kind of want to fill his place. There are big rock shoes to fill, you know?
I'm so glad I asked.
Me too.
You know what? It's fine. Not the first time I've had dirt in my hair.
And for what it's for, like Morticia's tiny ass hands, like sprinkling rock. It's like
It's just a dusting. It's
really is a
literally
dust.
like dust.
it's literally dust.
all right, are we ready to leave?
I
No
know.
guy is down there doing stuff.
No, I'll climb up.
Are you? Oh, I can see the rope moving. Okay.
Sunflower, did you climb up
Yes.
before
No,
Vincent?
yes, actually. I think I was the person in the middle, and that was why I was kind of being like, "What are you doing?"
Okay. I just wanted to kind of get that lay of the land. Any last minute observations or things that you wanted to pick up on?
I'm settled here.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Axis will actually look and see if the writing that was for the godfather of his son is still there. That is one thing he would be looking for.
Yes, that would have definitely have still been there.
Okay.
That
So he feels a little bit more comfortable about the potential time traveling thing now. He's really a little bit worried about that part, but a little bit better
So
now.
real.
none of the names changed. The only thing that seemed to change is it was a little bit easier to read everything because there were fewer shadows and more light. and less dust or debris covering things.
Fair.
But yeah, I think I'll just kind of take one last glance, regretting I couldn't get that heart, and climb on.
I think Sunflower's last glance is because she almost wishes she could have dived after Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just not sure. Like, I know you described it as like that the room felt lighter, but it was almost like for Sunflower there was like, yes, there is that lightness, but there was almost a heaviness in her that's kind of like at war with that, and she's I think quieter because she's struggling with it.
With the lightness, there also was something that went missing.
Yeah, true. I think she's feeling that absence.
Yeah, Martisha was just happy to hang out in a mausoleum for a little bit.
Process is like, we helped the person, the rock god thing. I think we did good.
Rocky the god.
We did something.
Dwayne the God Johnson. I
Happy the title of this episode.
I'm going to have to find a way to work it into the recap for sure.
Thank you.
Dwayne the Rock God Johnson.
The smell the rock god is cooking.
But so as you all exit the vault and you make your way out of the shaft, which had been cordoned off, well, this section of the mine shafts had been cordoned off due to the ruckus of the earth elemental. You also find that many of these were unused anyway. They were considered like used up. There was nothing left to mine from them, and they were closed off for one reason or another. This one in particular seems to be even more so left alone. You remember there were lights, torchlight in it, but when you left, there wasn't.
Huh.
Maybe the portal sucked the air right out and blew them out. Maybe it was just time.
I will light a torch because I can't see in the dark.
Yeah.
Same.
Is this a party full of? Do none of us have dark vision?
For the
None
first
of
time
us.
in my life, I'm playing with a party with nobody has dark vision. It's so heckin'
That's
rare.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
That
Chris
is
took
wild.
advantage of this.
We have gotten a new achievement.
Well,
So-
what would we like to do now?
As you make your way out and head up to the guards, one of them will startle at the sight of you and look at you and say, you there, oh, what are you doing? It's dangerous out there.
No, you just let us in, like, I don't know, an hour or two ago. We said we were going to take care of the problem. We took care of the problem.
You're the specialist sent in or something?
Yeah, of course we were.
Yeah.
What
Special,
do we look like? Don't
I
answer
have
that.
no idea. I
Maybe we
don't know
could.
who the dwarves send to take care of their problems.
Capable people.
It's not dangerous anymore. Can we continue on, please? I have things to
Yeah.
do today,
Yeah.
and you
Okay.
are in the way of them. Thank
He
you.
steps aside.
Where are we going? Vincent just
pull
doesn't
out
like
our-
being stopped.
Our trusty.
Stone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pull out the stone compass.
The Whimsy Stone.
That's what it was. Thank you. I don't
The
even
Whimsy
look at my
Stone.
notes.
you have to be that mean to that guard?
That was not
Yeah,
mean.
Vincent.
That was...
Yeah, but we didn't even really have a goal. You just were like, roar.
He questioned why we were in there. We just did something that was helpful to them. I don't understand
He
your
was
problem.
doing his job.
Sure he was. Vincent rolls his eyes.
Sunflower's just going to turn to the guard. Pardon me for asking. I am merely trying to calibrate myself. What day and time is it?
Guard will rattle off the day and time, and it seems to be approximately about 2 hours
Okay.
or 3 hours after you would have gone to the tavern.
Okay. So it's not like some weird timey-wimey things happened.
No,
Assuming.
it does not appear to be.
Okay.
Okay. So everything is good. We've done amazing. I see. No problem. Do we want a nap? I don't really have anything I need to nap for, but we did spend a lot of time.
A good nap is always good for the soul.
Uh-huh.
I do not require much rest. I am happy to keep watch if necessary.
Oh, that would be great.
But,
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, that one probably doesn't nap either.
Oh, actually, yeah, she does all the time, except for right now.
So
All right.
Are we
short
headed-
rest.
are we headed back to the that empty creepy inn that we went
That's
to?
like so dilapidated now.
Be in.
You
Don't
could.
think it's a good spot for a nap.
You could
There
head
has to
back
be a
to
place for other
the
people.
Scallywags.
Scallywag's
Oh.
Respite.
Yeah. Scallywags.
Probably figure out what the Whimsy Stone leads us toward first.
At least an idea, yeah, of what
Yeah.
direction
Yeah.
to send us.
And I think Drasus would be very pointedly not grabbing it this time.
I'm pretty
That
sure-
was going to be my next question.
I'm pretty
Who's
sure it was
touching
in Sunflower's pocket, was it not?
I think so.
She took it back from
I
Rocky.
believe so, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so she'll pull it out and she'll say, "Anyone?" She'll offer it to
No.
Drasus. No. Morticia?
Yeah. I mean, if nobody else wants it, you gotta put it down, or if you want to hold it, I can stand on it.
You can stand on it, and
Okay.
Sunflower will put it down and let Morticia stand on it.
Perfect. All right.
It tickles.
It's not glowing or anything. I'm gonna put my hands on it. Like we'll crouch down. Like,
It tickles some more.
huh? Was there like a special word that I had to say? Should I lick it? I can lick it.
About that time, you feel something like flutter in the air and land on your shoulder. It's a small leaf.
Oh gosh.
Well, large for you, but small, very small for everyone else. And it's a very distinct pattern.
Ooh.
It matches the hair clip.
Oh, that's really pretty. As long as nobody's looking, or even if they are, I'm gonna put the leaf in my hair.
Dig it. It's big enough that it will be noticeable when they turn and look at you. But it's not so big that it's like bigger than your hat.
Why'd you
Okay.
put a leaf in your hair?
Fashion. Also, it looks like my hair clip. I thought it was really nice.
What does your hair clip look like?
I feel like Chris and I agreed upon smart.
I have an image.
Oh, good. Documents and PCs. He's character. So like a hair clip that goes in, but on the end it's got these two leaves that are like crisscrossing each other, inlaid with I think that's the right word, a silver. And on the inside it's like this really, really dark, deep green.
Emerald.
That's fashion. Clearly. Stomp on that stone a few more times. Vincent, who doesn't know fashion.
It's changed a lot over my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
I try to
Look
stick
at
with the
those shoes.
classics. How
Mhm.
dare you? Do you know how much these cost?
Make me remember why now I'm going to call you old man instead of young buck because, well,
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
fine. I'll start referring to you as little child.
Wow, friendship.
oh,
This is nice.
come carry me.
No.
Can I get a piggyback ride,
You're
Vincent?
so welcome here.
Children have to learn on their own.
The wind picks a leaf out of your hair and it tumbles down the street.
I'm gonna go chasing after it.
I'm gonna
Part
grab
of
the
my
whimsy
ensemble.
stone. I'm gonna grab the whimsy stone as
Good, thank
Morticia
you.
starts running.
If you weren't, I was
God.
gonna. So good.
Grab it and stick it in a pocket. Start running after.
It seems to move just enough to stay out of arm's reach
Of course.
as it dives and turns and twists and then thump.
Is that the sound of me hitting something?
If you don't stop in time.
Ah! Where do I hit?
The gates that go to the next tier.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so slap. Oh, my nose! Oh, that really hurt.
There's a
Oh.
gate. There's a gate right there. Watch out! Watch out!
Oh, Vincent. I see it now.
You shouldn't play catch with your face.
That is actually some
Other
good
great
advice.
grandkids.
Wow. Wow. Sunflower, do you have any kind words for me?
Feel better, friend?
Thank you. Thank you. There's just like the gate indent.
I was honest.
Oh! Sunflower will try to find something in her pack to make you feel better. Like, she's probably got something. She probably got something.
Let's just find me another leaf.
Or that.
Where did my
Perhaps
leaf
you
go, by
should
the
ride
way?
on my shoulder
It
next
went-
time.
Under the gate and on the other side.
Okay, if I have your permission, I would love to sit on your shoulders because my face hurts and that leaf onward!
Is there any like signage on this gate or anything like that? Or it's just like an old gate.
Oh no, it's
A well-known
the
gate.
one of the main gates to go between the tiers. It happens to be closed at the moment because of the ruckus in the mines with a rogue earth elemental that was causing all kinds of concern for people in the tiers above, and was being monitored fairly closely. And you'll actually see about this time, guards kind of looking at you like,
Might
"Are
we
you
get?
all right?"
Yes, she's fine. Might we get through?
Do you have business?
Yes.
They said to keep it locked down until the disturbance has been dealt with.
It has
It
been
has
dealt
been
with.
dealt with.
You're welcome.
Who wants to be convincing?
I've got a pretty high.
I mean, considering Vince and I said it at the same time, I feel like we should both roll.
Don't
Sounds
pick
good.
me.
Honestly, I would
What
just
am I
try to
rolling?
terrify these people. So
Persuasion. I mean, you dealt with it. You're not lying.
Shoot, I should have been lying.
22 for me.
Where is?
I mean, I
Oh,
think
no,
the
it
fact
is.
that
It
Vincent
is.
and I both said at the same
It's good.
time is
Excellent.
pretty intense.
Very convincing.
Mhm.
Oh.
So Vincent embellishes on the story as he uses deception to make it sound a lot more official than it was. That's how I'm going to spin this.
Can I throw out?
Yeah, go for it.
We were also told that once we completed this, that we would have a little bit of payment here.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Another guard?
Look
agreed
at
with
look
us?
at the
Weird.
pain. Look at the pain that we went through, pointing at Morticia's face.
This is it's a mess.
Sunflower doesn't know what to do, so she's actually silent. She's just looking around blankly.
He looks a little puzzled and goes, "Well, you'll have to talk to the quartermaster about that."
I'll be dead by then.
He'll be
Are you
upset.
in need of a healer?
He'll be upset if I have to talk to him again.
I don't need a healer. I need money. Money cures wounds. Wounds of the heart.
Strange folk.
It was just a simple 15 gold per person. That was our agreed upon rate.
That's a lot. Or
Drassus
15
is just over
silver.
here, like, looking at this soldier and seeing if they
The
break.
guards are looking at one another, and they kind of turn to somebody who's standing behind them, like seemingly in sort of a supervisory kind of the role that kind of peeked out about halfway through the spiel. And he just shrugs and goes, whatever, and turns around and leaves. And you'll see the two guards that are there, one of the two guards that are there disappears, and the other says, oh, well then, let me procure, or they'll procure that while I'm opening the gate, I guess.
Wonderful. I will give you a rave review. Thank you for your work and your service to this fine city.
You're welcome. Still not sure what actually is going on here. The other guard that was, kind of monitoring things while the gate was closed, shows up with 15 gold apiece. Clearly, well, approximately 15 gold apiece. You can scatter that across all kinds of different currencies, because they clearly took it from whatever kind of road tax or gate tax there is.
Gosh. Yep.
Because that's all the money that they would have access to for
Yeah.
official business. And they usher you on through.
Woo!
Thank you. Again, have a wonderful day.
And the gate closes behind you as you head up to the Calling, the second tier of the three-tiered city of Riverheart. This is a mercantile place, similar in, I should say, busyness to the lowest tier, to the fog, but not near as damp, obviously, and a lot brighter. There are businesses lining the streets. There are homes that you can see in different, like, little neighborhoods tucked in different places around the crescent shape that most of the earthen ledge is taken up from Riverheart, from the Calling. And in the center of it, you will see a spire of light that's almost impossible to notice amongst the fog in the lowest tier, unless, of course, you are in that particular same space with it. And this pillar of light reaches up and kind of illuminates this garden, floating rock garden that pulls the light into these different gems and prisms and cascades, rainbows and such. Depending on the angle in which you look at it, depends on the different things that you can see. You'll see children eyeing it and making out different shapes and calling out different fantastic creatures or people or objects that they can see in the lights that refract from this rock garden. Further in, for those of you that are familiar here, well, Vincent for sure, into the mountain, there are more businesses. A lot of, there's one of the major markets is actually inside the side of the cliff, and where most of the trade is done. The one that you saw with the miners' market near the copper mines, or what used to be copper mines, pales in comparison to the amount of business and trade that's going on here. You see people from a variety of different places, and you can see docks for airships at this tier as well. To reach it, you could have taken stairs or an elevator, but it's about 3.5 stories, 4 stories above the tallest rooftop of the lowest tier.
Okay.
This place is so cool.
It's pretty nice, yeah.
You
should go up.
I don't. Yeah. I want to go find my leaf.
Oh, I was gonna say you should go up to the first light. That's where it's really, really nice.
You can see first light from here just by looking upward. You see the floating islands. There are 5 floating islands, one for each of the 5 families.
I'm pretty sure they probably think I'm a criminal there, but I'll go one day.
I would think you're a criminal there.
When you're small and you steal stuff, people just make assumptions.
That's not an assumption.
All right.
Just find your leaf.
Onward.
Leaf chasing.
As you look around, you will actually see your leaf dashing out across the expanse and over to the rock garden in the center of the crescent. Now, for you, because you fly, you can follow the leaf directly. The rest of you would have to take the closest bridge. And there are 3 bridges that attach the rock garden in the center to the crescent of the calling.
If Morticia, I'm assuming Morticia is just
Gone.
going, right?
Yep.
Ugh,
That was a pretty leaf.
damn it. And try to power walk. Vincent would never run.
Oh my god.
Power walking with that cane too, right?
Yep.
I think Drasus actually would run, and because this is sort of like proven to himself, he's still got it sort of thing. So he's like, all right, check what my cardio is right now.
Love it. Sunflower, are you power walking with Vincent, or are you picking up a brisker pace?
I think power walking, slow jog, somewhere in the middle, somewhere between Vincent and Drasus. Apparently I'm indecisive this morning.
Fair enough. When you all make your way to the rock garden, you will find Morticia eventually, as her image is refracting amongst the different rock crystals and kind of like a fun house.
Terrifying.
Right?
Morticia's everywhere.
Giant
Once
warbly
Morticia
eye.
realized she could do this, she would be playing with her image as it cascades all over the rock garden. Yes?
That's very important. Have you seen this? Oh my goodness! This is so cool!
You're gonna scare the children, points at Drasus.
The leaf settles on Drasus's shoulder.
I'd like to fly up and grab it and put it back in my hair.
And there it goes.
Also, there's a zoom filter. I don't have it on Google Meets, but I could put a little, there's a little leaf I could put in my head.
Nice.
Oh,
I know the one you're talking about.
So the leaf, right when Morticia puts it in her hair, it flies off again?
Yep, it stays.
Oh, I thought you said...
Nope.
Gotcha.
It stays. At that point, it stays. And you find yourselves looking out across the horizon of the vast sea.
Ooh. This is pretty.
It is nice.
I'm happy we could do this as a group. You know, we've got a child, an old person, a sunflower, and me.
Do you,
Adam
do you
pokes
still
you.
qualify as old if you're like not alive?
That is slander.
Uh-huh.
Just because I can do some interesting tricks doesn't make me dead.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Whatever.
Well, where else do we want to explore? I've got my new shiny leaf. I can do anything.
The
Adam
shiny
agrees.
leaf do anything?
Oh, I don't know. Anybody? I don't think so. It's just like a really nice leaf. Look at this leaf. It's great.
Did the stone lead you to the leaf?
That's silly. Who has the stone? I'm gonna go step on it.
I'll give it back.
As you pull out the stone, you all will hear the clamoring of what sounds like combat of sorts.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Where? What?
It seems to be originating from one of the airships docked. What would that be? I don't know. What's left? Starboard? Or is that port?
I will agree because I don't know.
Well,
I
whatever.
know.
To your
Say
left.
starboard.
To your
You'll
left
learn.
from where you
Starboard.
from looking out over the sea, there's a airship docked there, and it seems to be emanating from somewhere on board that ship.
Whoa.
Screams and cries.
That doesn't
Wanna go
sound good.
watch?
Patricia, that doesn't. They're screaming. I don't think that's something we want.
We should
Is
go help. Let's go.
I'm gonna go watch.
Running again.
I'll be on top of dresses.
Grabbing
Surprise.
the stone again as Morticia runs off of it.
Sunflower takes off after Drasus for sure.
Oh, damn it. Not quite power walking.
Fair enough. You make your way across the bridge, and you find yourself on the opposite side of the crescent from where you began, where you came up on the elevator. And the ship, as it looks out, or as the bow points towards you, you'll notice a few people like scampering off the side and running away from the ship. They seem to be civilians, scared. They're unarmed. They're not carrying anything. If they're looters, they got something really small that they tucked in a pocket kind of thing. And there's one gangplank up into the ship that is still attached. The rest of the rigging seems to have rocked off in some way, shape, or form. Maybe there's a ruckus in the cabin, in the captain's cabin, or something of that nature.
Yeah. Okay.
Drasus is headed towards the drama. This is hero
Okay.
moment stuff now.
Yeah, this is your time.
Excellent. Is everybody boarding?
Yes, but again, there's space between me and Drasus.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, the people, are they on the ship, or like the people that seem like they're like defenseless essentially?
Those, they ran off the ship.
Okay.
Kind of like they're scattering from whatever is going on.
Okay.
So
So
they're
not like
fleeing the scene like a bystander might.
okay, so not necessarily like someone that I could like protect. It's not like a group that's like clustered.
No. It's not. It's nothing like that. It's actually like two individuals that were close enough that they ran off.
Got
kind
it.
of
Okay.
thing.
Then I'm also boarding.
Yeah, I'm on top of Drasus's shoulders, so I'm
Okay.
You're
Going
probably
for the
like
ride.
hanging on as Drasus is running as fast as he can.
little legs flapping in the wind.
Be a hero, my child. Go.
As you find your way onto the ship and toward the sound of combatants that is below in the hold, or what you believe to be the hold from Drasus, your time on ships in the past as a soldier, you'll make your way fairly quickly over the, across the deck and down the stairs, and turn to see a dozen or so folks, blades drawn, 4 on 8. Vincent, by this time, I'm assuming you're on board, I'm guessing you're still on deck, not quite down the stairs, because you're keeping a good distance.
Mm-hmm.
Sunflower, where are you in comparison?
Definitely in the middle.
Okay.
Between Narcissus and Vincent.
Close to the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Drasus, I'd like to start with you. How would you like to size up, or how would Drasus size up a fight? He can already tell that it's 4 on 8, just by the way that people are positioned. What else would Drasus be looking for?
Drasus is really looking for, like, being that civilians were already running off the ship, he has observed that. Who's running this ship, and if these are like pirates, like if there are people boarding this ship in order to take it and take it over. I'm probably defending the people who run the ship, because from all accounts it seems to be legally boarded. or not boarded, but parked
moored
here essentially.
Yep.
Moored. Yes, thank you.
It is legally moored.
Yeah, he's looking to see, kind of size up who's doing the aggro shit, essentially.
As you size it up, you'll notice the 4 are backing away from the other 8. One of them has something that they're clutching very dear to them, and the other 3 are kind of keeping keeping a wall of people between those the advancing 8 and those and the one in the back. Those that are advancing seem less well dressed, and the ship itself, I don't know. I'm going to turn this one over to Stephen. What might a Nerine airship look like?
So Nerine in the Faeforge world is based on essentially Wakanda. And so a Nerinian airship would look steps ahead of any other sort of technology, craftsmanship, anything that would be found in Riverheart, where we are. Very, very sleek, smooth. Everything's intentional, but has some aesthetically really nice aesthetic designs. There's lots of like deep reds, oranges, and gold are kind of the colors. And there would be some like you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell what type of cat, but some sort of like the face of like a puma or a jaguar or something on different places.
Yeah, and then at that point, like if I catch this Nerinian ship and there's Nerinians aboard, I think Drasus would just be like, whatever you're trying to take, it's not worth your life.
Who from Nerine would travel to Riverheart?
It would probably
folks.
Yeah, so it'd probably be a combination of there would always be some sort of guard, some military-esque folks, as well as like some artificers. They'd primarily be there to trade for Fey Iron to take back, because that's what allows their ships to fly. Essentially, that's
Gotcha.
what they enchant. So it'd be a combination of like economic and military.
Excellent. So, what you would be able to glean then, the 8 that are lesser well dressed seem to be hired guards of some sort, the type that maybe a merchant guild or a caravan might hire. Temporary, not temporary employment. We're not talking a permanent post.
Like mismatched clothing.
Yeah, like they don't seem to have any sort of unity or uniform, or their tactics seem to be instinctual rather than practiced, which with your history of military background, Drasus would note that for sure. The other 4, well, the 3, the one that's clutching something, you can tell the shape, but the size, they're much shorter in stature. And as such, it's harder to see them through the group. You do have a better vantage point, but the ceiling is only so tall in any sort of hall. And the other 3 are clearly from Nareen.
Yeah, I think Drasus is just basically, playing the calm old soldier and just be like, there's a way we all walk away from this, as if you leave right now. It's a promise. You can walk right out.
Let's see. I want to see something here. I want to see how many of them notice and how many of them stay focused on the other 4. One of them notices, looking straight at you, and is clearly shaken by the fact that there's this large minotaur with how many weapons do you have visible?
At least 4.
Plus me.
And a fae.
Other head.
Crossbow, longsword, other sword. Yeah, that's 4 weapons.
This person clearly no longer has the will to fight. But there is only one easy way to leave, and you're kind of in it. The other 7 seem to notice, but they're fixated. Like they won't take their eyes off the other 4.
Oh, if it looks like one's gonna run, Drasus is just like,
step aside.
Your friends won't have an easy end.
Well, they beat feet.
See you later. Have a great day.
And Sunflower, a average-looking human with a short sword and some ragtag padded armor, comes running past you. And then, up the stairs and poof, right past you, and headed toward the gangplank.
Do I have any reason to assume that they're hostile?
They seem to be running away. All they have in hand is a short sword. They don't seem to have anything else.
She's gonna just let them go.
Vincent, you would recognize the look of fear on their face.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. And it's then that we hear boom. The ship rocks. I need a dex save.
Uh-oh.
Do I count?
Roll the dex save and don't roll a natural 1.
Okay. Well, that's impossible. So
Where did my sheet
Well,
go?
it's not, but
I found it.
Come on. It was on an 18 and it just slow tipped over to the floor. Oh.
Bye, Drasus.
The ship lurches away from the crescent as this explosion goes off. Anybody that had less than a 14, you can script what happens as you lose your footing to some degree. You don't have to go sprawling. Nobody, botched it that bad. But the ship is no longer moored. The gentleman trying to flee, the momentum of things moving in the opposite direction launch him from the ship.
Vincent, I think, just like as he's walking, just kind of stumbles a little bit and just has to grab one of the ropes that are, I mean, there's ropes everywhere on ships, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just grabs one. It doesn't quite fall all the way to the ground, but
Yeah, I think Drasus would just kind of like do the whole thing where you kind of like wobble and then go to like hand on the ground, one knee, just to make sure that he doesn't fall all the way over.
Makes sense.
But yeah.
I mean, he was stepping aside for a fleeing man at the time that the ship shook, so...
Yeah. Put him off guard.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And you find yourself afloat. Yards away, ship moving out over the sea as we end this episode.
Haha.
we're going on an adventure.
All of the Fantastic Voyages, apparently.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much for running this game.
Glad to be back.
It was good to be back. Everybody who is here in chat, thank you for hanging out, and thank you for being patient with us, as real life unfortunately does get in the way sometimes, which is annoying, but it happens. So we are... Whoa. Sorry, I just realized I switched to a screen that showed my playlists. But yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. We hope you've enjoyed it. You four, one more time, why don't you tell people where they can find you, who you are, what you do, and we're going to go the other way. B.
All right. Hello. I have been the chaotic Morty and Adam. Well, I'm not playing a fairy rogue. I'm found on Twitter as @B_Zelda. I'm a podcaster, streamer, sensitivity consultant, community manager for D&D Adventures League. I do other stuff, probably like podcasting with Steven, where we have a podcast called Anime Attaché, where we're currently reviewing Cowboy Bebop right now, and it's going fantastic. I do other things, but I don't really know what they are, so give me a follow online and find out with me.
That is.
I feel that so much. That's why I'm laughing. Because I feel it. I
Never
understand.
relatable.
Leona.
Hello, I am Leona. I have been playing Sunflower, our Warforged sorcerer. You can find me on Twitter @TheLeonaMaple. That is the best place to keep up with me and what on earth I am doing. I am a sensitivity consultant. I am on some streams. I am on some podcasts. I'm doing a whole bunch of things. It's a time. So please do follow my Twitter, because that is where you will know where to find me next. And this has been so much fun. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Awesome. Prince.
Hey everybody, I'm Prince, also known as Dimples and Dice around the internet, and that's where you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. You'll catch me in a bunch of things, in a bunch of places, but this week, come check me out on Saturday over at, a lot of places on Saturday. I'll be on D&D Jordan Lee's channel, raising money for Color of Change for a one-shot D&D camp. One-shot D&D session. I'll also be on Vancouver by Night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Delve into Darkness, where my character has just become a seneschal for vampires of Vancouver, which is really interesting.
Ooh.
As the Vancouverite in the group. Hello. Hello.
Great.
Tell me more.
And then over on Rolling These 20s at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm the storyteller for Vampire the Masquerade, Philly by night, where our vampires there have done time traveling and traveled multiple universes, where now they have embodied the bodies of their other versions of themselves in this timeline and are slowly trying to figure out what the hell their other persons were doing before they got into their bodies.
Wild.
And then on Sunday, I have at 11 a.m. Eastern Time my new campaign, Wayward Revelry. It is a D&D 5e Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign where I have a wonderful cast of folks who are chaotic beings at a circus right now. And, well, you put those two things together and see what happens.
Awesome. And Chris.
Hey everyone, as a reminder, my name's Chris Geary. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Geary. You can find me here on Thursdays for the Reclamation project. I got to clear it with Steven, but I came up with an idea for a poll that Patreon people of the Faeforge Academy will get this week. And
Ooh.
I know, put you on the spot. And you can help shape a part of the story that's happening on this show. And then you will be able to find me. I'm not sure when my guest spot begins. It has to do with when their story arc ends, but over on Nexus Adventures, over on the Hype Goblin channel on Sundays at 10 a.m., I will be picking up as part of their group for a story arc with a dwarven Circle of Spores druid named Vordrek. He's a former grave digger and grave tender, and kind of like part Columbo, part grumpy old man. So come check us out and see what kind of shenanigans I get up to with that crew. But yeah, that's it for me.
Amazing. And thanks to Roll20 for providing us the tools that we get to use to run these games. It's really cool to be a part of the Roll20 Spotlight program. For more Faeforge Academy stuff, you can go to our YouTube channel. There are 3 other campaigns in this same world. There was a airship adventure, a pirate airship that B and Prince were both a part of. We had a lot of fun there. But all of these stories are actually weaving together and affecting one another, particularly on our podcast. So if you search for Faeforge Academy on your favorite podcast app, you'll find us. And we've had NPCs show up into that are from other things. We've had world altering events that have happened that have shown up, all sorts of good stuff. So other than that, we're gonna set up a raid. I think
Jarius, of course.
What?
Don Jarius, of course.
Freaking Don
Can't
Jarius.
Forget about Don Jarius.
He's the worst.
DJ.
Yeah, he's actually he and some friends have Don Jarius has actually shown up in three campaigns so far. So so yeah. Anyways, we're gonna set up a raid. You can go see what's going on over at the Pixel Circus channel, and yeah, give them some love. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.